Next question comes from the UK and it's a video.
Hi, my name is Juliet and I'm from the UK, from Manchester, which I believe they used in The Crown this series for the scenes in New York, because Manchester, the buildings have got a kind of New Yorkish feel.
Also, fun fact, last year I went to Manchester when COVID didn't exist. I went to Manchester for a couple of days because of my mom's family friend. We have a family friend that lives in Manchester, so who knows? Maybe I ran into you and I just didn't know.
And my question is, who do you think the best actor is in The Crown, and why is it Josh O'Connor? Nah, joke.
I actually would kind of agree with you there. I think in terms of season 3 and season 4, for me, especially after season 3, I was so taken with Josh O'Connor. Like, he is a standout for me. Also really love the actress who plays Princess Anne, Erin Doherty. I think she's great too, but kind of there with you.
The actual question is, okay, this is a paragraph, I apologise. I once wrote an essay on a film called U-571, which stars Bill Paxton and Matthew McConaughey, I think, and it portrays the American Navy during World War II capturing a U-boat and the Enigma machine, which we know went on to end the war much sooner than it would have otherwise. However, we also know that years before the event portrayed in that film, the British captured the Enigma machine. So the film is kind of misleading and gives the achievement to fictional American characters that belongs to real British people. So I find that kind of rude. So basically, as this show, The Crown, purports to be a real story, I think a lot of people will view it as a accurate retelling. I'm wondering, how important do you think that the balance between artistic license and cultural and historic responsibility is in TV shows or films that portray real events? Or ultimately, how important they are for your enjoyment? Do you feel the need to believe that it's accurate, or does that not matter at all? Especially, I imagine, as someone that isn't British and you know less about the British historical events, maybe it doesn't factor in at all for you. Sorry for that rambling. Okay, Julia out.
Yeah, wow, that's a really good question. I'm not gonna lie, guys, like, a lot of the questions you guys submitted, you all should have been asking the cast and people who were part of the show these questions, because again, I watched a lot of the interviews that they gave and they were being asked the same question over and over and over again, but these are such thoughtful questions, so thank you for that. The other day, last night, I was watching this behind the scenes video of The Crown season 4 specifically, which I highly recommend you guys should watch. It's about 12-ish minutes long. And there was a part when Peter Morgan kind of talked a bit about this.
The historian's ink is no more than fluid prejudice, I think Mark Twain said, you know, and that I'm not entirely persuaded that accuracy is a virtue in itself. This is an interpretive medium and a creative medium. If I felt that at the expense of an inaccuracy, I was somehow violating an underlying truth, then I couldn't live with that. So you get into this accuracy versus truth thing.
I think there is a fine balance between artistic license, like you said, and the responsibility to portray the truth. Obviously, in terms of like storytelling, there's certain things that just logistically you can't tell beat by beat by beat as it actually happened. But at the same time, in taking said dramatic license, I think you can only go so far that it then just becomes slander and a character assassination. And some would even say that, you know, this recent season of The Crown may have been a character assassination for Prince Charles and Camilla, and even some members of the royal family. Your second follow-up question is really great, because I feel like we as the audience, we have to intellectually know that what we're watching is a TV show, it's a drama series. This isn't a documentary series, it's a drama series. So in the back of your mind, while certain events and characters that are being portrayed in The Crown, like, yes, those are things that happen, I think you have to have this self-awareness of, well, maybe this isn't exactly how it happened. I think there's certain people, certain stories that we do go out of our way to find out, now did this actually happen the way it did? I don't think it's the responsibility of every single person who watches like a biopic or a show or a movie that is similar in this nature to do their research. I think like it really is like a case by case thing. For me, like there's certain people who those are my people, and if one thing is off, then I'm like, ugh. If I watch something about them, I do go out of my way to do additional research. But then there's other biopics that I've seen where I'm like, okay, I learned, and I just go on about my day and it doesn't like really affect me. And I think that's kind of like the case with the royal family and the crown. Whenever you're doing a biopic or you're telling a story that's like based on true events, it has to reasonably resemble what actually happened. But again, the beauty of a narrative drama show is that you can have artistic license. And at the end of the day, like Peter Morgan said, these are interpretations of events. The Crown never claimed at any point that the events that they're showing, the people that they're portraying, it is exactly how it was in real life. So I think people just need to remember that. And I believe too, I think Helena Bonham Carter recently put out a statement kind of discussing this. I remember like hearing some talks that like, I think in the UK they want like a warning before season 4, which I find so interesting because they never had this problem in the earlier seasons, but because season 4 is a bit controversial, they're like, oh no, now we have to put a warning. So yeah, I would say it's a fine balance. I don't think there's necessarily one that is more important than the other. I think both are important, but it's about finding the balance between the two. Next question comes from Perla from Mexico.
And for the questions about the season, I wanted to know if you have a favorite episode or if you just have like a particular favorite scene that you're like, oh my god, this storytelling was great, or the acting, I don't know.
Anto Astankova, which fun name, and Siberian Way, you guys also asked this as well. I really liked episode 2, the Balmoral test, because it was great that we got to see Diana and Thatcher. And I also really liked 48 to 1, where we saw Claire Foy come back as Queen Elizabeth for that beginning. That was beautiful. That was a glorious moment. And just like seeing this like really great dramatic showdown between Queen Elizabeth and Margaret Thatcher, that was a great moment in the show. For me, I would say my favorite episode is probably episode 6, when Charles and Diana go to Australia. That episode pretty much encompasses why I have been waiting for season 4 since the very beginning. It was just like really great storytelling, and it was so dynamic because it starts off at a low point. Charles and Diana, they're not getting along, and then they finally have this like really meaningful conversation where they actually start to communicate, and then things start looking up, and then they have the dance, but then it like goes bad because Charles starts getting jealous, and then it just like ends on like a really sour note. It was a very dynamic watch. And as far as particular moments or scenes, loved the scene between Camilla and Diana at the restaurant because I just loved the tension between the two of them. I loved the argument between Diana and Charles in episode 10 because the acting was phenomenal and it was like, whoa. Yikes. Also loved, like I said previously, the showdown between Elizabeth and Thatcher in 48 to 1. That was like both showdowns. That was really, really great. But also, like, as a funny moment that I really enjoyed in the Balmoral episode when Margaret Thatcher and DT, they come down for dinner and they walk through the doors and then they see the royal family and like everyone like turns and looks at them. Even the corgi turned and looked at them. And the fact that that corgi was able to take beautiful direction, one of my favorite moments from season 4. Next question. James from Canada wants to know if there was one episode in season 4 that you would want to be expanded into 2 episodes, possibly to replace episode 7, which one and why? Wow, that's such an interesting question. Maybe I would have episode 10 be expanded because even though the scene that they did give of Camilla, like explaining to Charles, like, you know, I'm gonna look bad as the other woman, but maybe we could have seen a little bit more of Camilla, got a little bit more character development from her, just to see what she looks like separate from Charles. Because that was something that when I was watching The Crown, I remember being like, what does Camilla's husband think of her relationship with Charles? And some of you guys were leaving comments like, no, like he was cheating on her like all over the place too. So maybe I would choose episode 10 just so we could see a little bit more of Camilla, not just in tandem with Charles, but like what does her life look like? So then maybe that could have built a little bit more sympathy for that character. This is a really, really great question. So
hi, my name is Lucas and I live in London, and from what I gather I'm around the same age as you, and I'd like to know, because I have my own opinions, what do you think of the monarchy as a whole? Would you want a monarchy in your country? Because I feel like people of my generation and my age who live in the UK are actually questioning now, especially after watching The Crown, is the monarchy a good thing? In a way as well, I'd love to know, in addition, after watching The Crown, because I know The Crown is so popular, especially in America, what do they assume the UK's stance on the monarchy is? Because from what I know and from what my generation feel, living in the UK and being in that generation that's under 30, we don't have good opinions on it, and we don't think of it in the best light. So I would love to know, just, I don't know, in a way, do people from other countries just assume that we are in love with our monarchy and we sing God Save the Queen and, that's our thing? Yeah.
Wow, that was such a good question, Lucas. And in your DM, I remember like you messaged me, you were like, I hope that makes sense, but it makes perfect sense. I think the thing for me, what I find fascinating about like the monarchy is like the tradition of it all and the fact that it has such a history in the UK and it's been long lasting, and the evolution of what the monarchy looks like in tandem with the UK. Would I want a monarchy in the United States? Probably not. No. You can make several arguments that, I mean, it definitely doesn't have the long-standing history and tradition that the royal family has in the UK, but I feel like the American equivalent, at least in terms of the political world, would probably be the Kennedy family in our own way, was sort of American royalty at one point. I'm not even gonna say like the Kardashians are American royalty because that is horrendous.
In honor of you both playing royalty on the crown, who are you most like out of the American royal family, the Kardashians?
Oh, God. I don't know that the Kardashians are the American royal family. Do either of you know?
They're the best you got.
Oh, God.
Don't say that.
Look at this
Claire
face.
begs to differ.
I feel like, at least here in the States, celebrity culture, even though like a lot of people on the internet are like, celebrity culture, it's dying. Like, I don't think celebrity culture is necessarily dying. I just think who we celebrate as celebrities has evolved and changed, largely because of the internet and social media. But anyways, I don't necessarily think I would want that. And then your next question, which was, what do Americans assume the UK stance on the monarchy is? Honestly, stereotypical American would probably be like, oh my gosh, like the monarchy is so cool that you guys have that. Especially because when it comes to like big events like a royal family wedding, or when you guys hosted the Olympics that one year and there was like this whole thing with the Queen, whenever the UK has big events that end up being telecast to the rest of the world and us as Americans were watching it, you guys seem to like celebrate the monarchy. So therefore, we think you guys are like cool with your monarchy. But I think because of social media enabling like these kinds of conversations to happen, and because of the internet, and because of like shows like The Crown that are really like breaking down that myth, so I think there might be a generational divide as well. I think maybe older Americans who aren't so on the internet, maybe they think that all of the UK loves their monarchy, but I think us younger Americans, us like, millennials, Gen Zers, I think we have an understanding now that not everybody in the UK loves the monarchy. Last question. I'm so sorry, you guys. I really don't know how long this video is going to be. If you want to know how long the raw footage right now, I'm at 1 hour and 46 minutes. So this is going to be so much fun for me to edit. Last question. I wanted to end on a fun one. So here we go.
Привет, Steffi. My name is Lisa and I'm from Kiev, Ukraine. And here's my very special question. Who do you think out of every character on this show, out of all seasons, would be the best at making YouTube reactions? Maybe try to impersonate your choice.
Okay, so before we move on to the next question. Okay, so who do I think would be the best at reaction videos? Oh man. I mean, we do know Diana loves to perform, but I think she would want to be at the center of the action, not necessarily someone reacting to the action. Elizabeth would not be fun. She'd probably just like sit there. Maybe like Margaret or Anne. I think they have very different personalities, but they're very like expressive people. So yeah, that's what I would say. Like Anne is kind of like ugh, and Margaret is also kind of like ugh, but she's like fabulous too. So those are the two I would say would be like the best at making reaction videos. And then your next question.
But in all seriousness, do you wish reactions to The Crown from other YouTubers? And as you're so good at making them, could you please perhaps share some tips? Tell us what defines your style of video blogging. Thanks, have a good day.
I am aware of the other reaction channels. They don't necessarily cover The Crown, but like I'm aware of like the Normies and Blind Wave and the bigger ones. If I do watch them, it's because I'm studying how they do their reaction videos. The reaction videos that I do watch, actually, they're not reacting to TV shows. They're actually reacting to like musical performances. Those are the reaction videos that I watch. But in terms of specifically other people who watch The Crown on YouTube, I don't watch their videos, and it's not because it's like, ooh, competition. I honestly just like, I haven't had the time to do that, but I want to shout them out right now. I know George Alexander, he does Crown reaction videos, and he actually has commented on a couple of my videos. So shout out to you, George. Keep doing your thing. The Shannon Show, she's another good one. If you guys want to find more Crown content, look her up. She's doing her thing. And I see here another person does it too. His name is Qasim Kiani. So shout out to them covering The Crown on their channels. The Crown is a great show. So if you guys want to look for other people who watch The Crown, check out their videos. In terms of tips for reaction and review videos, quick tips that I could give. Tip 1, if you have glasses, you're watching the show, turn the brightness of your laptop or computer down, because the light will reflect in the lens of your glasses. And I think a huge part of what makes reaction review videos so appealing is seeing people's expression in their faces. So if there's like a glare in your lens, your eyes aren't going to be as like seen. I know it's like very nitpicky, but that was something that I had noticed in some of my older videos. So I started turning down the brightness of my computer when watching the show. Another tip I could give is watch with subtitles, because sometimes you might miss things if you're talking, or you know, just in general, you just might miss things. So I think having a subtitle is great, and it helps when you're syncing your audio to visual. So watch with subtitles. And the third tip I would give, which I think is the most important tip, is to watch something that you genuinely want to watch. I don't want to say like I was the first, but I think I might have been one of the first to watch The Crown on YouTube, and it wasn't because I was chasing views, but it was because that was a show that I genuinely really liked. So my tip for you would be watch shows that you genuinely want to watch, not because you're chasing views. Of course, there's certain shows that you know, this will probably get good views, but I think your number one priority is to watch a show that you genuinely want to watch, because another thing you have to consider is making these reaction and review videos are very time consuming. So you want to make sure that for all the time that you're going to be spending making these videos, it's for a show that you genuinely really like. And in terms of like, what do I think defines my style of video blogging? Oh man, that sounds like such a self-indulgent question for me to answer. I don't know if I necessarily have a style. I guess if I were to say my style, I just try to give thoughtful analysis of shows. I'm someone who I genuinely love watching TV. And I like sharing shows that I love. I like sharing my thoughts and opinions with other people and having great discussion about them with other people. So I think that's kind of my style, what I try to do. I'll say funny things every now and then, but I don't overdo it. But at the same time, I try to be thoughtful. So that's what I'll say is my style. All right. Oh my God, you guys, it's literally almost 2 hours. I've been recording for almost 2 hours long. Woo! So, thank you guys so much for watching probably this very long video. I hope you were comfortable while watching and listening to me gab on about The Crown. Thank you guys again to everybody who sent in questions. I really appreciate all of you, and I'm so sorry if your question didn't make the Q&A. I still read it. I still listened to it. So thank you so much for participating. Thank you guys so much for watching The Crown Season 4 with me. It's been a journey, a blast. I'm still gonna be here on YouTube. I know it's gonna be 2 years until Season 5 comes out, but I'm still gonna be here making content. So make sure you're subscribed and that the notification bell is turned on. And I have a podcast too. It's called Diva Dailies, a podcast where we deconstruct divas on film and TV. Please check it out. I really appreciate all of you who have managed to check it out as well. But hey, if you haven't, check it out. As far as the next show that I'm gonna be watching, it's probably gonna be the show that won the most recent poll. Just saying. That's pretty much it. I hope you guys are having a great day wherever and whenever you are. And as always, everything I said was just my own personal thoughts and all my humble opinion. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!